Turn that light off. Let's bring some music down. Okay, and I'll just wait a little bit longer. I advertised 11:11, but YouTube doesn't allow you to put 11:11 as a start time. It only gave me 11:10. So I've popped on a little bit earlier. Just wait a little bit longer. See if people come right on at 11:11. Which, according to my phone, is right now. But I won't wait too long, because people can always rewind and go back to the start if they missed the start. So just a little bit. And I wasn't overly concerned how many people actually jump on live, because I'll save the video and put it on other channels as well. But I just thought that I will maybe approach a couple of questions from people towards the end, or if I feel they've asked a relevant question during, I might talk about that as well. All right, so yeah, like I said, I'm not worried about how many are on live right now. I'll just keep going. And yeah, people can always watch it back later. So what brought this on? It's time. Time for me and time for humanity, and we're at a very pivotal point right now. There's a lot of people freaking out. A lot of people stressed, not sure what to do, what's happening. So today I want to go into my journey, my personal journey, and my perspective on the bigger picture. So not really going to go into intel or anything like that. Just going to discuss one of my gifts, which the reason I have an eagle as my main spirit guide is because I came in with the connection and the vision for the bigger picture. So I'm going to share that today. But before we get started, I'll get too far into it. Anyone who's watching this live or later on, I highly recommend you bring your energy from up here and lower it. Bring it down to here. Take a few or a couple of deep breaths. And consciously draw your energy down from your head, which is where all the illusions are and the control matrix is. The mind control program is up in your head, so to hear me properly, I want you to bring your heart, I'd advise you to bring your energy down into your heart. The heart center is your connection to the divine and your own higher awareness and higher consciousness. That's where I'm going to be talking from today. Okay, my story. Just go into that a bit. For those who don't know me, my Earth name is Kai Stubley. Born into a family of 5, 2 siblings, mother and a father. I live and have lived most of my life on the outskirts of Melbourne. And there's a big reason why I'm here in Melbourne, along with a lot of other advanced souls, as Melbourne is a pivotal place in this shift in consciousness, and probably the biggest fire, the biggest cauldron of fire is right here in Melbourne during this shift. Not only that, we've got some pretty special places here in Australia and an origine culture that also holds some sacred knowledge too, which is important. I was born here in Melbourne, and in a relative normal upbringing, which was by design. In this lifetime, I was meant to come in as human as possible. As previous lifetimes, I've come in, you could say, with more of my higher awareness birthed here. And, well, it's good to have those gifts and that knowledge. It's actually caused problems in some of my previous lives. So, because people put you on a pedestal, people give their power away to you, which is one of the, you could say, weaknesses of humans. They're a little bit too easy to give their power away to someone they feel is special, which is how the dark side or the malevolent ones have manipulated humans for a long time. So I had to come in as normal as possible and in relative hiding to protect myself, because also I've been attacked every previous lifetime. And for the most part, you can defend yourself, but eventually that wears you down. You can't do what you're meant to do. So, yeah, I've been in hiding. Part of my consciousness has also been in another body. So it was split in two in this lifetime. 65, around about 65% in me, in this body, and 35% in a female body. And the reason for that was, again, like I said before, to keep me under the radar, not draw too much attention to myself until the time was right. The female aspect of the female body that has my higher self consciousness came in with the connection down, you could say, to Earth Mother. All her gifts were generally around connecting with Earth Mother, the soul of the Earth, Sophia, the fae, fairy folk, all those realms. And I came in with more of the upward connection, star, galactic, cosmic, angelic. But that wasn't reawakened in me. Like I said, I had to live a fairly normal life, not only just for hiding, but also for reconnecting with humanity, because one of the other issues of coming in with your angelic consciousness is it's very easy to, well, in the past we'd say that egos have got the better of us in some lifetimes. Yes, you still have ego from the angelic realm. So I had a awakening in my late 20s. And it started just before I met one of my soulmates, which was a contract relationship, an agreement that we were both going to activate each other, which is what happened. But just before that, I started meditating. So I just started opening myself up a bit through meditation prior to that meeting, but it was a relationship. She cracked my heart open a bit wider than it was, which is what I needed. And she also drew me to Adelaide and to a healing center over there, which I learned a lot of. I did a lot of healing work on myself and learned some skills in healing arts as well. But the biggest thing was that some of the practitioners there helped me again crack my heart open a bit further and let go of anything that was an obstacle for connecting with my higher self and my soul level of consciousness. So that was very important. So that was I was there until my early 30s, 31 I think. And then I came back, and my next big event, awakening event, I had another healing session with a practitioner here in just on the outskirts of Melbourne, here in Kinglake. And that was a pretty amazing session. She was getting all the downloads and visions, and I was just lying there feeling all the energy. But she said in her words, all my ascended master connections came through. We don't like to use that term, ascended master, but we'll just go with it for the moment because that's what most people understand. And in that session, I reunited again with source energy, which she described as a humongous golden being. And after that session, I had one of my names you could almost tattooed into my skin. It wasn't with ink, of course. It was just indented in my skin on my forearm. And I didn't really know what that was. Obviously, thought it was a bit strange, and I just sort of went off into the bush to try and ground myself because I was floating like a bird. And so I grounded myself, and I forgot all about that. And the next morning I was running a meditation class for others, and that went really well. And then I walked out of that meditation class and it was back on my arm again. So I thought I better pay more attention this time. So I photographed it and made a paper copy of it. And as soon as I did that, along with showing others there was other people in the center which I showed, but as soon as I did that, it went. But for those that have seen the profile picture on my healing page, that writing you can see at the top, just above the pyramid, the golden pyramid. So you can't Google that sort of language. So I thought, well, the only way I'm going to find out more about this is to go back into meditation. So I went into my healing room and I dropped into meditation and I asked for the answers for what that was, what that writing was. And that same group of beings that were in that healing session came back and started communicating with me and told me that was my name, which is one of my names, which was on my arm. And they said the closest thing in the human English language is Alua. So that's a Syrian aspect of myself. So a large chunk of my consciousness, you could say, is there on Sirius, where I am kind of like a doctor, healer, work with energy and vibration and frequency, which you can see reflected in my work here for those that have had a healing session with me, which is very focused around sound and vibration. So that was a pretty big event, of course. Cracked me open a bit further, raised my awareness a bit further. And then not long after that, I was reunited with that female aspect of myself in the other body. She found her way to the healing center where I was working. And we started reconnecting, communicating, hanging out. And that led to 3 years of helping each other, basically, mirroring what we needed to see in our human body and human form, what needed to shift and be removed as far as the programming and the deep state controlling and the handed down generational stuff that we don't need to carry. So that was massive. So not only once we did a lot of healing on each other, then all these amazing experiences started taking place, which I'll go into, which is very big and has set the tone for the rest of my life. So in each other's presence, our gifts went not double, it kind of went tenfold. So whenever we were in each other's company, once we started shifting the negative programming out of our system, we started downloading a lot of stuff. Started communicating with a lot of high dimensional beings. And the most important one was Sophia, Earth Mother. And one particular healing that I did with a female form of myself. So I was working on her, helping her let go of some emotional stuff. And as soon as she let go of that little bit of emotional baggage, then boom, she disappeared and left me holding her body, looking after it. And I think about half an hour passed and she came back and told me what happened. She was taken to a meeting. I've just forgotten the order. Sorry. Prior to that meeting, so I'll come back to that meeting hold on to that. Prior to that meeting, we started in meditation, connecting with Sophia, and she started inviting us to, which, remember, come down here, not up here. She started inviting us to play. Just like a little child would invite you to a tea party, we got invited into a golden pyramid to play. And the only way we could get into that golden pyramid was to be as a child. And at first that was a real challenge for me. The female aspect of myself found it easy, and she kept saying, come on, hurry up. Because at the time I was quite a serious person. But I eventually got it, and I dropped into my childlike self, and I was able to enter that golden pyramid. And we just spent time in play with Sophia. And reformed a relationship. And that happened a few times. And then eventually she expressed how sad she was for what was happening on the surface with humanity. And a bit disappointed as well about what was happening in regards to the destruction, the pollution, how many humans were treating her, her planetary body. And we had to help her with that. We actually did like an inner child healing. We had to help her release some of her trauma. And that is trauma, what some humans have been doing to her. And of course not the average human so much, and more the malevolent ones, the ones that have gone down the dark path, who are in positions of power, predominantly. I mean, there's a lot of regular humans that still pollute, but it's the ones on the dark path that are really doing the damage. So she was very disappointed, hurt. So we helped her let that go. And in that came the next step, which was the meeting, which I started talking about. So in that healing, we got invited to that meeting, and it was a meeting of all beings in a very special room. And in that room, there was a representative of each species there, which I was told was about 20, roughly. And a sacred bowl with a drink got handed around, and everyone had to partake in the drink. And then Sophia, Earth Mother, came and stood before everyone and told everyone with great authority that she was no longer going to tolerate it anymore. She was over holding space for 3D consciousness, and it was time to take the next evolutionary leap as a collective, and that anyone who wished to join was invited. Anyone who wanted to also join the evolution and ascend to higher levels of consciousness with the planet as a whole, with Sophia and Earth Mother, was welcome. And after she stated that, 3 beings in that circle immediately got up and left. So they made it quite clear that they weren't interested in partaking in that step. And no doubt they'll be the ones that are holding on for grim life right now in what we're going through. This is the start. I mean, it's been not exactly the very start, but we're in the heat of that shift now, and we're all experiencing the death of the old ways, the old 3D control system. We're going through the death of that right now, and no death is pretty. Not many, anyway. It's often a little bit of mess with death, isn't there? So that's what we're witnessing. The messy death of the old system. So yeah, that stayed with me forever, and it's until now. That's why I have so much belief and confidence that it's been hard to do here. We're moving from one point to the other. And while there may be slight fluctuations, depending on what happens, transpires, basically we're going from point A to B. It's happening. No one can stop it now. All they can do is put a little bump in the road, maybe. But you don't have to worry, because it's happening. We are shifting into higher states of consciousness. And for that whole process, Sophia put the call out long ago. And many higher consciousness beings came, and they are here right now. They have a presence in a human body, and they're walking among you. Sorry. I think they all just jumped into my heart, because a wave of energy just came through just then, which was very emotional. Sorry, I'll try and control that. Obviously, that was me feeling. Oh boy. I'm feeling the support and the love of my brothers and sisters in arms right now. I can't control this emotion. Sorry. And that's important. It's important for me to feel it. And for the reason of support. So I was going to, I actually intended to start this a few years ago, but I had an attack. I was taken out, you could say, very sneakily. I've been aware of attacks on myself for years, but one a few years ago was very sneaky. I got through and it knocked me around. It's taken me, well, that lowered my vibration enough to receive another attack, and between the two of them, it was 6 months apart. It led to physical symptoms, kidney, liver issues, a back issue, a very painful disc bulge, which has taken me 2 years to get over. But I'm feeling more protected now than ever. So, and some recent events have taken me out of that healing process and ready to go. Time now to walk more with my higher self in my physical body. Far out. So the support network's there. For me to step more into a teacher role, I have been doing that on and off the last 20 years, but in a bigger way now. And it feels fairly close to me to setting up my own healing center space, mini eco village retreat. That's feeling very close, which will have higher education, like similar to the old mystery schools in Egypt, where people can come and advance through mystery school teachings and higher awareness, heal their bodies to allow that to take place. Yeah, so that doesn't feel far off. That doesn't feel far off for me. But getting back to humanity, I don't want this video to go on too long. Getting back to humanity, so current events, the shift, the Great Awakening, as people are calling it, shift of the ages, shift into 5D, 3D to 5D. There's so many names that people have given it. A lot of the original indigenous cultures around the world, they've known about it coming. The Mayan calendar gave us some clues. There's many prophecies around the world that have spoken about this time. And we're right in it. And there's a lot of people contacting me, and I'm hearing, they're very challenged by it. So I'm just going to talk about that a little bit. Yeah, like I mentioned before, the death of anything, it's never pretty. So we are going through, we're seeing greater vibration, which is a raising of energy on the planet, which is bringing up all the crap. What was once in hiding is now visible. All the shadows have a light shine on them. So things aren't getting worse, they're getting better. We're starting to see more, the darkness, the dark side. We're starting to see the controlling mechanisms. People are awakening to the psychological programming, the manipulation. It got so bad that a couple of decades ago, the Higher Council nearly flicked the switch on this level of reality. They were going to just end it and say, well, that didn't work. That experiment went too bad, went too far. Thankfully, there was just enough of us holding the light, the love, heart consciousness, to see it through. And, Earth has gone through many cycles. It's constantly in a cycle of dark and light. Many people have spoken about that. I don't really need to go into that. If you look at astrology, it gives you a bit of hints. We move through the different cycles in astrology. We move from bronze, iron to bronze in the Celtic system to golden. We're heading to the golden, where we're shifting from iron to bronze. From Pisces to Aquarian. We're in cycles which are normal, have been here for a long time, and they always create a shift. But there's bigger cycles as well. And we are in a very unique time. The reason why so many of our galactic families are watching right now, and why there's so many benevolent ancestors on other dimensional levels supporting this time, is because it's never been done. Like I said, Earth Mother decided she's going to evolve to the next levels. And anyone who wants to join the ride can do it. So what does that mean? It means it's a choice. You choose. And you basically are in the stages of that now. And it's about letting go of anything that you no longer need. Letting go of all the 3D control matrix systems, manipulation, emotional baggage. Getting out of your head and into your heart. If if you can manage to stay in your heart, well, obviously you've done a lot of work, and that's great. Then all you need to say is, yes, Sophia, I'm coming along, and you'll do it. If you're struggling to stay in your heart, then your focus should be on why. What pulls you out of your heart, what keeps you in your head. Who are you? Who are you really? I guarantee you, you're not your personality, ego self. This reality is very similar to the Matrix movies, computer games. You get birthed into an avatar or a body with a personality. And while that's all part of the experience, it's not actually who you are. And yeah, it's a choice for coming here. But part of the reason so many light beings got called to come to Earth was because too many souls were trapped. Too many souls were getting harmed and hurt in the reincarnation cycle. They were being trapped here by the dark, malevolent ones. So really, a lot of people, they're not really choosing. They've lost their choice. They lost their choice, and they were stuck. So then your personality, ego, self is even less of yours. Your initial incarnation, you chose. You wanted to come to this school of hard knocks and develop your consciousness. You wanted to fast track. You chose it. You wanted to fast track yourself. Choices started diminishing. People were trapped. Some people have been trapped here for a long time. I only heard the call 12 lifetimes ago. So this is my 12th Earth life. I've come from other realms, working in other realms. But when I got the call, I came. And each lifetime I've done my best to connect with humanity, to learn what humans are going through, to walk the human journey so I can empathize. In this lifetime, I want to be as human as possible, even more so. That was my choice. So again, you get closer to what it feels like to be human, because, the challenge when you bring in higher consciousness and awareness, you just don't, very hard to connect and feel human and empathize. So we're in the transition, we're in the shift. It's looking pretty ugly from a certain perspective of people who have been entrenched in the system. People might look at me and think, oh, he's got it pretty cruisy, sitting comfortable where I live on the property, surrounded by nature and beauty. The reason I'm here and sitting comfortable and pretty is because I did the hard work in this lifetime and previous. All this is set up previous lives. In this lifetime, I already did the letting go. I let go in my 20s and 30s, I meditated for 2 hours every day for 10 years to strengthen my connection to my higher self. I did the hard yards, I've done them. And through doing that hard work, now I get to sit in a more comfortable position. So those that have been working and living well in the matrix, control matrix, the system of control, nearly everything you see in reality, in the media, it's all the malevolent ones' control system. The medical system is a eugenics program. It's been killing people off, keeping people at a lower vibration. The media is a massive psychological weapon, again, to manipulate people, keep them controlled. Most of you are already aware of all this. But I foresee in the very near future all that falling. And the malevolent ones are going to try and keep trying. They're going to go down swinging. They're not just going to give up. They're going to go down swinging. And no doubt there's a couple of bumps to come. And some intel that some are sharing is that they've been given to the end of this month. The media's been given to the end of this month. Some of the deep state agents in the political system have been given to the end of this month to start sharing the truth. And if they don't, well, there are some here that will put a bit of pressure and force the situation, which could get ugly. So the rest of this year could see some very unpleasant moments, maybe, potentially. Like I said, could be a bit like that. It's a chess game, it's a war. Move, counter move, double cross, triple crossing. There's people in the CIA don't even know who they're working for anymore. They've been double crossed, triple crossed, whatever, so much. Anyway, all that is the movie. And I highly recommend you work on positioning yourself with a healthy level of detachment from that movie. Because like I said, ultimately, we're going from point A to point B regardless. We're getting there. It's going to happen. Nothing can stop it. You just need to position yourself so that so you can ride it out as comfortable as possible. What does that mean? That means being as self-reliant as possible. Don't rely. Try and do your best not to rely on any government institution, shop, supermarket, that sort of stuff. Most people have been warning people to stock up. Yep, recommend that. Have a big pantry at the moment. Lots of dry goods that last a long time. What happens in your house if the power goes out? If you lived in an apartment, that would be pretty challenging, wouldn't it? So have you got somewhere to go, somewhere else to go? Backup plan? If you live in a house that's in a pretty good place, supported by friendly neighbours, friendly maybe family support, blood family support, soul family support. A lot of people growing food at the moment, and that's awesome. Yeah, highly recommend that. But in saying that, I don't want people to go into fear and panic about that, but just be prepared. Be prepared for the worst and pray for the best. Pray from your heart. From your heart, call in higher consciousness. That is the most powerful tool you have in your kit bag right now. If you struggle to do that, if you don't feel that you're really connecting with higher consciousness, don't panic. Keep trying. It takes time to break through, allow potentially a healing to take place, and it could come in so many different forms that cracks you open a little bit wider so that you can connect easier. Just keep staying open to higher consciousness coming through. Feel the vibrations. We're getting hammered with cosmic galactic rays coming via the sun and our galactic families and Earth Mother herself. Schumann resonance shows just wanting some of that. Give yourself time to allow that. I can't recommend salt bathing, mineral bathing and essential oils, healing oils. That helped me so much this year and last year. And some people complain that they're not good meditators. Doesn't matter. Start to learn. Just practice. I wasn't good at it at all, either at the beginning, either in this lifetime. Keep practicing. But the main thing is just consciously pulling your awareness down into this space. Do the things that also, as much as possible, that push you in. Some people get pushed into their heart space via their pets, their animals, wildlife, nature. Barefoot walking in the bush, whatever it is, do it. In the next few months, you may experience some real financial challenges, for example, like I did in my late 20s and early 30s, when my higher self was pushing me down into my awakening. And in that process, I became financially, people call it broke. I mean, I wasn't broke. I mean, I had some money. I always just had just enough money to do what I needed to do. But there was no spare money. Never. I didn't buy new clothes for years. But I always had just enough to feed myself, to put a roof over my head. Some people may go through that in the next few months. But The important thing, what pulled me through, was that meditation practice. I didn't panic, I didn't worry, I didn't drop into fear. I dropped into meditation and I called in my higher self. And I asked help. I asked help from there, from that space. And from that place, new doors opened. New things happened. I took the next step and the next step and the next step. And I let go of my past and I stepped into a better future and present. And this has allowed me to hold onto and see the future. So I'll just touch on that now before I finish up. And so this is how I see the future. A fairly short transition through this current period where more of the darkness will be revealed, more deep state agents will be revealed and exposed. Many talking about the quantum system, quantum financial system, quantum healing system, whole new quantum fields opening up. Yeah, that's definitely something that I see happening. It's basically that's higher consciousness. That's what we're shifting to. That's what we're moving to. So I'll talk. So a fairly short transition through what people just call 4D. I'll use that term just because most people understand it, into 5D. That might be one generation, 4D to 5D. 5D consciousness, which is the energy I'm holding for most of the time, is the unification of your heart and mind consciousness. So those that go there that's what they'll need to do, unify their heart and their mind. From that space you can hold a love frequency and not get manipulated. There's been beings on earth many times over the journey that have been very loving, but they've been easily manipulated by the malevolent ones because they weren't fully unified in their heart and mind. You could say they had an innocence about them that was taken advantage of. So I had a dream of the rest. I had a dream come through a few months ago. It was very vivid and with all the emotions. And it was amazing. And it was the rest of my life in this lifetime. And it was nothing but awesome love, amazingness. And after, the week preceding that, when that dream, like I said, I got all the emotions with it in the dream, and then that week preceding the dream. And any time I shared that with anyone, I just burst into tears, and not from sadness. It was not sadness tears. It was just pure joy and love vibration. And I couldn't control that emotion, just like before, earlier in this. Same, uncontrollable. So what's coming is amazing. We've just got to get through this little bump, these bumps. And obviously for some people it's going to be a bigger bump than others, but you'll get a lot of support if you open yourself to it. Try not to worry about the small things. Yes, people are losing jobs. People feel like they're getting pressured into getting a medical treatment against their will. But it's not. It's not against your will. You actually do have a choice. There are people exposing that legally. And if you really want to, if you're in a position where you really want to hold on to a job that you love, then take a stand. Stand in your power, stand in your truth. And if that employer doesn't honor that, then it's not a match for you anymore. And a new door will open for you where it is a match. You'll get employment that is a match to your level of consciousness. Don't block that with fear. Remember, we're letting go of the old ways, the old system. It's dying. Any company, any corporate entity that is part of the control system, they're going to fall. They will no longer be. When the quantum medbeds come in, for example, the whole medical industry is going to change. There'll be basically no need for big pharma at all, who is the malevolent controlling factor currently. So yeah, there'll be a lot of nurses and doctors that won't be needed anymore, for example, just in that field. But it won't matter because it's in alignment with the quantum financial system, and everyone will be financially supported. Everyone will have a base wage to pay your rent and food and the basics. And then if you want to earn more from there, you can. So you've just got to allow that. Oh, hello. Like Simon, I've got a visitor. This is Kiva, one of my guardian cats. So I think I'll wind that up here for this one. Thanks to those that listened today. Might look at making this a weekly thing. I'll see. I'll save this video and put it on a couple of other platforms, on BitChute maybe. For those that didn't see it today. Wow. As you can see, someone's really trying to get some attention here. Little munchkin. So thanks, everyone. Stay strong, stay in your heart. Let go of the past. And prepare yourself the best you can. Blessings. Your support team's here. We're here. From the angelic realm, all are here. We're here to support this transition. All right. Key was asking me to go. I'm going to go. Thanks, everyone. Peace.